Penacony 2.1 trailer was short but intense. From the exciting sneak peek, it shows that the stake has been raised. Our one-sided alliance with Aventurine was short-lived, and the Express family had to join force with Acheron to face up against the IPC Emanator. But before we get deeper into that, I think it's worth it to process the trailer slowly and recap what we know so far.
You've witnessed it, so there's no need to hide. Even the shiniest city has its dark side. Surely I don't need to explain too much to you.
So the trailer started with Gallagher narrating the deceptive nature of Penacony. Let's talk a bit about him. Remember the time when we first met with Firefly? She was mistaken by the Bloodhound family for a stowaway. Gallagher described that the person they were looking for was actually a lad with silver hair. In my Firefly is Sam video, I made an obvious mistake thinking that the silver-haired man could be Sam. But Sam doesn't even have a hair, so that was pretty dumb of me. With the drip of Boothill, I'm convinced that he's actually the intruder they're looking for. I also need to mention that Welt also got into contact with the Bloodhound family, and based on his intel, the Bloodhound family spotted a silver armored man, or Sam for short. Interestingly, Sam also has been marked as an invader. So if we include Firefly into the mix, there's actually 3 silver intruders in Penacony right now. Or 4 if you want to count Silver Wolf. Now let's move on to Acheron's preview.
Here's to you, sober one, with this glass of a dream within a dream.
It's only when the sword is unsheathed that those hazy memories start to become clearer. This is where it ends.
That was beautiful. You know, when I first saw this animation, it reminded me of Zilla's ultimate, but this is actually just her skill. That's pretty insane. Her animation alone makes her worthy of being an anniversary character. My viewers also pointed out that Acheron never once drew her sword so far, like when she killed Trailblazer or even when fighting against Sam. So I guess we now know how scary she can actually be when she decided to use it. I'll talk more about Acheron's Emanator status later in the video, but for now, let's continue.
Plot Studios theme park, most popular entertainment center in Penacony.
I guess this will be our new area in 2.1.
The culture of a city reflects its history in the most authentic way.
All this free time, why not make the most of it with a game? High stakes, high rewards.
In the live stream, they mentioned that there will be more moments when Aventurine will give us credit like when we first arrived in the hotel. That's friends with benefit for you. It's interesting that Aventurine was originally designed to have the dodge mechanic where he could completely nullify any attack. But he ended up being too broken, so they had to scrap it. But just keep in mind that they have this mechanic implemented already. So maybe when the content becomes hard enough, they will probably add it into the game. I'm honestly on the fence whether I want to try to get him or not. Aventurine looks really cool, but since Honkai Star Rail is a Harmony game, I'm a bit worried whether I'll be missing out if I don't get Robin. Not getting Ronmei already makes some content difficult for me. Anyway, let's move on.
All or nothing. Using Robin's death as a bargaining chip, I'll ruin this beautiful dream.
I wonder if this means Aventurine was responsible for Robin's death. It will be pretty extreme of him, but I think it really fits his gambler personality.
High stakes, high rewards. All or nothing.
I suppose Aventurine will betray us and the Express family had to team up with Acheron to stop him. Or maybe this was his plan all along. We just really cannot predict this guy. In the live stream, they mentioned that Acheron's story will involve Welt, so I'm really looking forward to his awkward deja vu moment.
And create the grandest death.
If I'm not mistaken, this is actually the first time since Cocolia that Trailblazer used the plumbing lens again. They have always been a baseballer no matter what tough situation they were in, So I think this really speaks volume on how dire the situation in Penacony will become. It's also ironic that we are using the power of preservation against someone aligned on that same path. Now I believe this is a cornerstone. For context, in the IPC there's an elite group called the 10 Stonehearts. Aventurine and Topaz are part of this group. Each of the members carries an item called, you know it, the cornerstone. For example, Topaz is seen wearing her stone on her jacket. In 2.0, Dr. Ratio mentioned that Aventurine lost his Aventurine stone in Penacony. So I believe one of his goals here is to get it back, and he actually succeeded. From what little that we know about the stone, it's like an item that can give massive power boost to the user. Dr. Ratio also stated that without the stone, Aventurine has no hope of completing his task. That is, to get Penacony back for the IPC. If we assume that playable Avenger is his power level when he's not using the stone, then we can clearly see how crazy powerful he got when he used it. Bellebok was lucky that Topaz didn't use her full power back then. I mean, she was about to at least.
Ladies and gentlemen, ready to unveil your cards?
Wow, that was a lot of flashbacks. So the live stream mentioned that 2.1 story will have multiple character perspective, like how we get to play the story as Dan Heng in Shenzhou. Based on the preview that we got, we will be able to explain the story as Acheron, Aventurine, and Trailblazer. So I'm guessing these flashbacks are related to them. First, we'll start with Acheron's flashback. Thanks to Acheron and Black Swan's teamy dance, we know that Acheron came from the extinct twin planets known as Izumo and Takamagahara. They have actually just released a media trailer about the planets and Acheron's past. Do check it out if you haven't. It's a massive reference to Honkai Impact Third. The first time Honkai Impact fans saw this image, they probably had a flashback of Nagizora. You know, the moment when Mei had a friendly fight with Kiana and become the Herrscher of Thunder? Yeah, that one. Next, we see Sunday making a deal with someone, most likely with Aventurine. The glove matches. I believe this was the moment when Sunday took away Aventurine's cornerstone. Aventurine also have a flashback with a little boy, who I'm guessing is the child version of himself. Before Aventurine became an IPC worker, he was actually their slave, which is shown by the tattoo on his neck. The kid's appearance being quite dirty and full of injury convinced me that Aventurine had been a slave since he was little. This scene also reminds me of characters that have experienced traumatic childhood. Usually, when they experience heavy emotions, they will dig deep into themselves, and more often than not, they will meet the child version of themselves. Aventurine really had a bad childhood. So I think in 2.1 we'll definitely get to know more about Aventurine's past and understand why he became a man who is obsessed with gambling and becoming rich. Now I cannot figure out why we got a flashback of Firefly here, since you know. But maybe we'll get it from the Trailblazer story. I think this flashback showed the real life version of Firefly. Her face being cracked might be due to the effect of her entropy loss syndrome. Perhaps this hints that she's still alive somehow. Oh, and we also had a scene of Welt using the Star of Eden and Himeko protecting March against Aventurine. Not sure why it's a flashback though. Alright, we'll finally talk about Acheron's Crimson Weave form. So, thanks to Pom-Pom Intel and her media trailer, I can 100% say that Acheron is the Emanator of Nihility. The Emanator of Nihility are also called the Self-Annihilators. They have said to have experienced various existential crisis-related symptoms, like losing one's memories, becoming numb to everything, or even had their body disfigured. It's as if they have lost all meaning in life and can only wait for their existence to disappear. Acheron has forgotten many things. She forgot about having killed Duke Inferno, forgot about us, or even forgot her room number. Her white form design has her becoming like a dead tree. Her skin turned pale, flower will grew from her arm, and there is also crack on her body. All of this matches the description of the Self-Annihilator. Her domain also features a black hole, which is a reference to 9, the Aeon of Nihility. Oh, and Gojo Satoru's domain expansion, of course. So far, being 9's Emanator doesn't seem to be a happy one. I really think that Acheron doesn't have long to live. I hope that we will be able to give her happiness.